Going off grid my way. Birds are out. It's a very hot and humid day. I have no idea what the temperature hit, but the moisture is just dripping off of me, just walking. Let's see. I worked my other job today, and I came home. I threw some more skirting up just past the floor. That's all I had. I threw away a bunch of broken pieces. Um, Not for me taking them apart, but just broken in general from when I bought the house. Uh, Trimmed some more branches. Actually, there was another piece going up. I cut that down. It was another 20-footer. Just trying to get that cleaned up for the trusses when it happens. Nothing else has happened up here. Haven't had any materials or cash to do anything. So that's pretty much at a standstill. Like I said, I got this all up. I got nothing on the bottom yet. I've got the pieces for it. I got to figure out how exactly I'm going to do that. But at this point, I just wanted to get it up to keep the sun out of there so the plants stop growing. I got a bunch of weeds growing up under there from the sun coming in. We've been getting about 2 eggs a day. I'm not sure which one's 100%, but I do believe it's the Rhode Island Reds. I have 2 of them. I think those are the only 2 laying at the moment. As far as the garden goes, some of these plants are as tall as me. Some of them are 3-4 feet high. I know it's kind of hard to see with the sunlight, but yeah, it's pretty much a jungle in here. They're laying down, they're going sideways, and then growing back up. It's kind of going everywhere, but there are tomatoes popping up here and there. But like I said, some of these are tall as me, which I'm not that tall, but 5 foot's 5 foot. I'm not 5 foot, just so you know. A little bit bigger than that. But as you can see, it's pretty thick in here. I just brought a bunch of 1 by 1/2 inch and 1 by 3/4 inch boards home from the other job. Scraps we cut off when we were cutting boards down. Stood some more of these plants up. You can see the ones that are all turning sideways here. I just stood up. But like those ones going down there across the thing, they're all just laying down and they're still growing up. So I'm assuming these are intermediate or however you say it. Not really a whole lot growing in here still. A little bit of lettuce. The carrots still have not produced any carrots. As far as the beets, the couple that are left that kids didn't pull, those still haven't produced any beets. Lettuce did not do real well over here. I'm thinking it's because it got too much sunlight. They probably would have done better in the back where the trees are. Still getting peas. Corn's growing a little bit. It's not getting real high. Still pretty thick. I'm probably not even going to thin it out. As far as my cucumber tree goes, I think that would be a write-off as a failure. They get too much sun in the morning and no moisture just from the way the tree's growing, so I have to water them, and if I forget to water them, they die. Brandon's pumpkin plant didn't make it either. As far as over here goes, I flicked about 50 slugs off of these cabbage plants the other day, or this morning. I also finally got these tomatoes right here. 2 of them. One of them went missing. Something bit on one of the ones that I did get. Not sure what it was, but something's been in here trying to eat it. We do have a couple tomatoes on these. There's probably half a dozen or more. The beans, those ones are pretty much done for. These ones over here are still producing a little bit. I haven't gotten any strawberries since I moved them over here. There's a partial flower that's been eaten. As you can see, pretty much everything over here has been eaten. I think it's just not enough sunlight, too much moisture, and the slugs are getting everything. But we have been pulling stuff out of here still. Lindsay's been eating out of here a lot now that after she's had her surgery, she's got to eat a little better. So she's been eating a lot of the greens out of here, a lot of the herbs and beans. And now we got a couple of tomatoes. They're sitting in the house, finishing ripening up. They were half orange. I believe those were Romas. Um, we got a jalapeno pepper the other day, and there's probably 6 more growing. I'll take you over here to this lattice thing. I've been kind of staying away from here because that pile of sticks right there is where I got stung. I was over here raking. The rake's still sitting here. But the vine plants are doing better over here. They're starting to attach themselves to the fence and the lattice. I do plan on putting these, well, not putting them in the ground as much as building a big pile of dirt here and setting them on top of the ground inside the pile of dirt. Nothing ended up growing over here, which I've said probably half a dozen times, just because of the sun situation, because of these monster trees. This one I thought was this pomegranate tree I thought was a loss, but I threw some plant food on it, and it's picked up quite a bit. I don't know if you've seen in some of my previous videos, there was hardly any leaves on it. I put the plant food on it, in a couple days there was all these. So it's struggling. I'm gonna have to dig this up when I get these trees taken down, so I don't have to worry about it getting smashed. But I mean, I don't know how much you guys know about trees, but they're pretty rotted out. This middle shoot on this one, there's no top on it. It's already broken off. A couple big branches have broke off. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's pretty much hollowed out and rotted. It's showing up on there or not. It's pretty bright over here. But yeah, there's nothing left. This has got to come down before it falls down. So this one's going to be coming down. Like I said, I'm hoping the neighbor takes that monster dead, half dead one down, and that one over there that splits into 4 or 5 spots. And then, like I said, I've been trimming up some of these small ones as I get a little bit of work done. I'm going to take you around to the front and show you what else I did. Before I go up front, I'm going to show you this. These are, this is all cut-offs from a logging site. When they load the semis up, they have to cut them to a certain length to get them in the truck. So I just happened to follow a trail back and seen these sitting along the side of the logging road, and nobody was around, so I filled up the entire bed of my truck. It was pretty much falling out. It's pretty much everywhere. Also, with those, I got all these smaller ones that were cut off and left behind in the piles of brush. So that stuff can go right in the fire pit. This just needs a couple cuts on them, and those are good. They're completely dry from baking out in the sun. Since there's no trees there, they're just laying there. So between that and this, it's a little over a cord of wood for free. Took me probably 20 minutes to load it all up. I brought home this big pallet last week, and I think I'm going to make a gate out of it, take some of this extra stuff off of it and just make a gate. Took a couple pallets apart, threw the wood up on the fence up front here. As far as those blueberry bushes that I dug up and brought over here, I think the sun's pretty much cooked them. I have been watering them, but there's only a couple pieces in there that are still green. I'm hoping that the stems are still green, it's just all the leaves are dying off, so I'm thinking it might just be time for them to go into hibernation or whatever it is they do for the winter. I also got the first section of this tower up. Um, I placed it here just because I can do that now. I was going to put it between the house and the garage when that goes up, but it's easy access right here in front. There's nothing around it. I don't have to worry about any obstructions. I did level it up. I got a stick going right here, going up against the wall with a screw holding it in place. It was pretty steady when I stuck it in the hole, and I did dig it out and put cement in it, and I just buried it all back in there. So a couple days that should be solid. Because of the way this was cut down, I do have to get some pieces of pipe or conduit or something to slide in here, because the pieces that actually, this crimps down smaller than this, and this is the part that slid in the top, and instead of unbolting it or cutting the bolts off, he just cut it off. That goes for all three of these. I do have the pieces that he cut off that were inside the other pipe, so I can use for size comparison. I'm probably going to try and find something that's this size inside this hole, so I can slide in here, slide in that other piece that was cut off, and then put that back inside the other one, and have it go up and down into the pipes pretty far, a couple feet at least. And then I'll have to figure out a way to get that back up on top here. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. After I put it up and cemented it all in, I thought about it and I realized I probably should have put that together before I stood it up, but I had a hard time putting that up by myself as it is. If I put this other 20-some feet here on top of that and then tried to stand it up, there would have been no way. This doesn't weigh a whole lot, maybe 25 pounds. I think if I can get up here and strap myself with a belt or something around it, I should be able to lift it up into place. So yeah, that's going to be pretty tall, another 20 feet on top of that, two more 10-foot sections. Oh, you can see it against that tree. It's a little better, but that next 10-foot section should put it above that pine tree, and then another 10 foot up above that. And I think that'll be a good spot, since I got all this clear sky here for wind to blow across, and then there's a nice open area back here. So, and that's the wind blows this way most of the time. If not that way, it blows from behind me forward, from west to east. That would be the east side. That would be the north, if anybody was curious. So yeah, this should be a good spot. I'm gonna have, like I said, a wind turbine on top of that, and then I'll probably put some brackets off of there, and eventually put a cell phone booster so that I can get signal out here, because if I'm lucky, I can get out of roaming in no bars. But usually 90% of the time I would say I'm in roaming. And then I also want to put a TV antenna up on top of there that rotates. Like apparently that's the only thing that works out here, unless you actually pay for something, a service for monthly services. But you got to have it to where it turns, because a couple of the channels you can only get from the east, and then a couple of them you can only get from the west, according to the neighbor, because he has something similar to that, an older school version of it. So that's the plan. We'll see how that works out, a little bit at a time. Like I said, just trying to get caught up on everything financially from being off and having Lindsay off. So at the moment I don't have any extra funds to do anything. I just happen to have the cement laying around in the house, so I got that. I also picked up a ceiling fan from the job site. He wanted it gone, so I took that down and I brought it home. He said it doesn't work real well, but you'd think there was a helicopter when it turns on. For some reason, it's not adjustable to go up and down for the air for fall, summer and winter, and for some reason, I guess you don't feel the wind. So I don't know if the blades are on the wrong angle or what. So I still have to see what I can do about that. But like I said, I put another I don't know 8-10 feet of boards up here. So now I only got this small section to do, and then that'll be done. Like I said, this will all have extra another 6 inches of wood chips on top of this, and then on the other side there's going to be a big mound going all the way to the edge of the road, just so I don't have to weed. The little vine ground covers are trying to fill in, so I probably won't put too much over here, but I got to try and keep these weeds out as best I can, and they're not growing too bad, but it's a struggle. I think this tree has to come down too. It's just too big, too old, and right next to the power lines, so I believe that one's going to come down too. But and at some point this one right here in the middle is maple, or it's an oak, I think. But yeah, this one is probably coming down too, just because of the location of it. If it was back 10 more feet, I wouldn't have an issue with it, but it's right in the middle of the yard and kind of makes it difficult to drive. So that's it for going off grid my way. I'll talk to y'all later.